What's up, basement dwellers? Welcome to another edition of the Jersey Phanatics. I'm your host, Chris the Dace Man Dace, and joining me as always, the bullies / Fanatics, Erik Barezzo.
Kyle Schwarber!
And Tyler Bree.
Nick Castellanos, what's up?
It happened. It started tonight. So you suck. Sorry we were on hiatus for 2 weeks. The West Coast games kind of threw us off our game. We were recording the last time we recorded during the Yankees series, and we were talking about that Yankees game. So we took kind of a hiatus because the West Coast games were all 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and the Sundays were at 4. So it's a little ridiculous and a little hard for us to keep up. I think total-wise, Tyler and I caught probably 3 games. Erik caught all the ones they lost. So we're back. We're going to talk the series. We're going to talk their struggles. We're going to talk a little bit of the trade deadline because we did record before the trade deadline was officially over. And then we'll talk about the path ahead and if we have confidence like we did at the beginning of our relaunch. So first and foremost, we're going to talk that Yankees sweep that happened. And it couldn't have happened from a worst fucking team. Erik, what were your thoughts on that Yankees series where the Phillies dropped all 3 at home against that juggernaut from New York?
Well, I wanted Jazz Chisholm on the team. That didn't really happen. He got traded to the Yankees, and then he went completely apeshit against us that series. So that kind of always happens to us, is that the player that we're rumored to get or rumored out of, whatever you want to say, ends up going to the team that we play next, and all of a sudden they just go completely nuts and demolish us. And it tends to always happen like that. But yeah, everything that could go wrong, especially in that first game, went wrong. Wheeler was completely awful. He only pitched 5 innings. He gave up 7 runs, 6 Ks, 3 walks. All of a sudden, our pitchers don't know how to pitch. They are walking people at an alarming rate. They're not really getting their strikeout percentage up. And yesterday's game, they had 18 hits against us. So just in general, like everything is going against our pitchers right now, and our hitters can't hit. So every aspect of baseball right now, we're failing. And it definitely happened against those Yankees.
Tyler,
I mean, listen, I feel like the Yankee series was I didn't really feel like the sky was falling during that series. Like, I mean, yes, we lost. Obviously, we wanted to fucking beat the Yankees at least once. More for personal reasons because of dickheads we know. But I don't know. Like the second game, the one that went to extra innings, I believe that was the one. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many opportunities to win that. Like that one was just who wanted to lose more because I feel like the Yankees had so many opportunities. But I felt like that game kind of gave me a little bit of hope because we were down and we came back and we kept fighting. And I mean, we just couldn't get out of the way of fucking Chaz Chisholm. But he could stay on the fucking Yankees. I don't care about him. Like I really don't think he's all that. Like he's the type of player that I think disappears when it's big time. So you'll see it. I couldn't tell you what his stats are since. But
not great. I have him on fantasy. He cooled off after that series.
So he showed off against a team that he's used to facing, and then probably disappeared since. So like I'm cool with not having him. I know you wanted him so bad, but I mean, realistically, he's probably the same player as Austin Hayes. In reality,
I disagree with that. I think he's a lot better of a player than Austin Hayes, but I also think he's better. But then, like I think he's better than Marsh. But I also think that I truly blame Rob Thompson for him because he kind of put it in his head that you can't hit against left-handed pitchers, and so then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, left-handed pitcher, I suck now." So baseball players are very fickle with that kind of shit, and if you put something in their head, they're straight up going to believe you. And I think Thompson kind of fucked him up.
Well, I think it has nothing to do with it being in his head. It just has to be the opportunities that he actually gets against left-handed hitters or pitchers.
Yeah, but when he does get it, that's when he flounders against them now. That's what I'm saying. He had an opportunity to do really well with it, and he wasn't given it, and now he thinks he sucks.
I mean, he has sucked. I don't even want to go with things. He has sucked recently.
Oh, absolutely. Him and Stott are awful.
That's because his boyfriend has a new girlfriend, so he's dealing with a broken heart. Anyway, in the middle of that, yeah, well, boom, right? He's dating that Aaron chick or whatever.
Yeah.
In the middle of that Yankee series, however, there was a trade deadline. A couple more moves were made, nothing fantastic. Actually, that's a lie. My favorite move of the whole trade deadline was Soto was kicked off the fucking team.
Addition by subtraction.
It was so good. And he's doing so great for the Orioles. It's fun to watch them have the back of a bullpen that we had when we lost in the National Championship Series. What did you think about the trade deadline? It kind of fizzled out towards the end. We picked up Tanner Banks, was his name, I think.
Yes.
From Detroit. No, not Detroit.
No, he came from White Sox.
And then got a couple prospects for the Soto deal. Erik, what were your thoughts on that?
Looking back now, like I was really excited about the trade deadline. I thought we did everything that we needed to in order to go up, honestly. Like I really was happy for it. But looking back now, not so much. Like I think they needed to get that steady outfielder, and they didn't get that. It also doesn't help that the outfielder that you did get is on the IL, so that doesn't really help anything. But I just thought you needed somebody like the Jazz Chisholm or Luis Roberts or someone along that category that was your everyday outfielder and not a platoon player. And you didn't really have to worry about what you're going to do and where you're going to stick them in the lineup and all these freaking changes that Rob likes to do. Like, you stick Jazz in one spot, there he is. He doesn't care. And he seems to be thriving in New York. He may have pulled off, like you said. But
he's not even playing the position that you would want him to play because he's not a good center fielder. He's not even a good third baseman. Like he's a defensive liability.
Play like
yeah, sure.
I think that's amazing that he's stepped up in order to go to third base because they had a hole at third base.
I don't necessarily. I don't. So what? He wants to go play a different position. Like I'm glad that he wants to go step up and do that, but he's not good at what he does. Yes, he's a better. So this is the theory behind why we didn't go get that big center fielder because none of them are good enough defensively. And Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thompson are going to want to put Rojas out there. Offensive struggles or not, I mean, realistically, we should be able to not have Rojas do great. He could do minimal, hit 250, bunt, people over. He's the 9-hole hitter. We shouldn't have to rely on him offensively. That's what we basically did for however many years we didn't have a DH. So, I mean, that's why we didn't go and get the center fielder or the big player because you're giving up a lot of prospects for one of the, not necessarily Chisholm, but like we'll say Roberts because he was probably more likely to come to us than we were ever going to go get Chisholm. So I don't even think that it was a realistic possibility that they were going to get him because of Rob Thompson. Because he was probably going, well, I'm going to want Rojas out there in a big game because he's going to catch fucking everything.
But isn't it better to have an offensive specialist per se than the defensive specialist because you have 3 of them technically? You have Bryson Stott who can't fucking hit anymore. You have Marsh who obviously is a platoon player. You
consider him a defensive specialist though.
Well, just to kind of play devil's advocate, instead of platooning left, which would have happened with Marsh and Rojas, you're platooning center with those two. Austin Hayes turned into that everyday player once he comes back from the IL playing left field.
I don't know if Austin Hayes was considered an everyday player. I think Thompson was just giving him his shot. Like, I mean, if he proves it, he proves it. If not, then he's going to platoon him with Marsh. And I think Rojas is going to get center field. Like, I honestly think that's where they're going with it.
But
where it's going to be
got hurt, didn't he play every day?
Yeah, he did because Thompson was giving him the road trip. Like he basically said that he was going to play left field, the entire road trip. We're going to see what we got out of him because he hasn't had that many at bats with Baltimore, and then go from there. I mean, he was playing his way to basically be the everyday left fielder and then let, Marsh and Rojas, because they're never going to let Marsh fucking bat against a lefty starter for whatever reason.
Okay.
When he had over 1,000 OPS in the first, I don't know, month of the season.
As soon as he got that hamstring injury, he kind of cooled off.
Yeah, but I was semi okay at looking back at the trade deadline. I thought, not now in hindsight, but I thought they did enough. I was happy and excited for all the moves because I did like Hayes. I did like the pitchers that they ended up picking up. I did like all of it. It's just not working right now, and that's just hindsight looking back. Everything that you did pick up hasn't really worked out well. It's because of your number one outfielder that you picked up is on the IL, and your pitchers, none of them are pitching, so all of them suck. You can't blame Thompson for that, but you can blame Dombrowski for not really picking up the people that you need to be picked up.
Tyler, your thoughts on the trade deadline? Even though I know you were kind of going with the flow.
I mean, it was pretty much a failure because you didn't go out and get the one piece that we needed, which was a 5th/4th starter. Like you had to go get another starter, especially with how these guys are faltering. Because you see it, Wheeler's struggling, Nola's struggling. Ranger can't seem to fucking just stay on, he can't pitch an entire season. When you had guys out there that, maybe would have cost a couple prospects, but they weren't rentals. Like Crockett's not a rental from Washington or White Sox. I'm pretty sure he has control. I understand he has his stipulations or whatever, but I'm sure we could have worked that out with him. That to me, that was the one thing we needed and we didn't get. I mean, obviously we did go out and get Estevez. So that's a good portion or a good add to the back of the bullpen.
You haven't really seen him though.
Well, we haven't been in a situation to save a fucking game.
Didn't he blow one?
I don't know if he blew it, but I know he definitely gave up one the other day.
Oh, he lost it, but it really wasn't his fault.
Was that Ghost Runner?
It was the walk home. The bases loaded against the Mariners.
Oh, with that shit umpire.
Yeah, okay. He had a strike 3 called right in the middle of the zone, and then he basically then walked him 2 pitches later or something.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you have Hayes. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of one of them platoons, so it was nothing fancy. But I don't know. I don't mind him. He looked like a good he looks like a good addition. I'm hoping he just shows and gets hot in September and October like anyone else on the team. I hope starts to fucking get hot.
It makes sense, and I think to your point, both your points, the trade deadline. I think we were more looking for something exciting to happen. Maybe not necessarily something we need, but it would have been cool to have a big splash to kind of kickstart the team again, because clearly they're in a slump. But on paper, this team should go all the way. You had 8 All-Stars. It'd be insane to trade the farm when you have 8 All-Stars. So I was just hoping for something exciting. There's still guys out there. I mean, we can go get Bauer. We can go get Thor. I'm going to keep making pitches for both of them.
And then we, who was the other one? There was somebody else too.
I'm all about the Vanimal. I know he's been retired for 5 years, but bring Vance Worley back, baby.
He's fucking teaching kids how to pitch right now.
I don't care. If he comes out there and throws 70, nobody would know what the fuck to do. He's expected 100 miles per hour, 30 miles slower, whiff it. Look at Stubbs. He's a great closer at games that have a 20-point lead.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Next topic.
3 times in 14 days.
And he's been amazing at pitching.
Amazing. 35-mile-an-hour fastball.
The next conversation topic is the beginning of the West Coast trip and kind of where we fell off because, again, these games were so fucking late. Everything was played at 10 o'clock for the Mariners and the Dodgers, except for their Sunday games. It extended for the first time the series to a 5-game loss. So the Yankees series being swept was the first time they lost 3 in a row. 5 in a row, obviously, was like the longest they've gone this year. They dropped the series with the first 2 games they lost, but came back to win the final game on Sunday, 6-0. Erik, what were your thoughts on our first series out on the West Coast?
That first game against the Mariners was ugly as shit. Second game was pretty close. That was kind of where that Carlos Estevez lost the game too. So but that was that walk. But that whole entire game was just awful. They blew a 5-run lead. Like, that's just everything about what the team was about. It just seems to be off for the last month and a half, 2 months, whatever you want to say. It's just ever since that London trip, everything has just been off. Like, they all look like they're lost in left field. I don't know.
It's kind of twofer because also, I mean, like, London is kind of like that nexus point, but there's also 4 injuries that happened around that time. I mean, you had Harper, Schwarber, JT, and Marsh all go down for something, albeit quote unquote minor, but they were on the IL after the London trip. I don't know if it was necessarily London's fault. Tyler, what was your thoughts? Tyler, what was your thoughts on the Mariners series?
I personally felt, I mean, the Mariners, that was a terrible series. I thought they were going to go out there and have a great, at least a tough series. Like, I thought they were going to compete. I thought they would go at least 2-1. But they did none of that. They looked like absolute fucking garbage the entire time. But they came out with the last one, the Sunday game, right? They ended up winning that one.
Yeah, 6-1. Yeah.
I feel like that kind of sparked them for the next series against the Dodgers. I really felt like you had a couple people get big hits that were that kind of launched them to keep them going. Stott in that series was huge defensively. I don't know if you saw, at least in the Sunday game, and then I think I caught a couple plays either the Friday or the Saturday night. I think it was the Friday night, and he might be struggling offensively, but he has it in him. That's what, the point I was going to make earlier when you were saying defensive specialist. I don't consider Stott a defensive specialist because you've seen what he can do offensively. Yes, he's struggling this year and he's having an extremely down year, but it really just takes him having 2 weeks worth of, a good at bats, and I would consider him, back to doing what he's doing. He's not I mean, he should be a 300 hitter, but he's roughly like a 275 generally. I feel like that's basically what a 300 hitter is nowadays. I feel like.
Yeah, but the issue is when Stott came up here and what he showed, not last year, but the year before, you thought he was going to be a batting title, not you specifically, but, you thought that he was going to be a batting title in the running at least. And, he came up small in the playoffs, and he's continuing to come up small now.
Oh, so, one of the most infamous grand slams that a Philly could ever hit.
Okay, well, how about the World Series then? You want me to just say that then?
The World Series
in the playoffs last year.
Well, no, the playoffs last year was when he hit the grand slam.
They had to replace the Rhys Hoskins moment.
Yeah.
So they had him go do the grand slam and the bat slam because they knew Rhys isn't going to be here next year. We need to get a new iconic moment.
But I'm not to say he hasn't struggled, but I don't know. I wouldn't say he came up that small. I don't have stats in front of me, so I can't really say what he was or wasn't doing.
I do have a question before we move on to our final 2 series on this road trip and what we've missed in the 2 weeks. National League wise, the team, they're the best in the National League as of right now. American League wise, Out of the top 7 teams, they have lost all 6 series. 6 out of the 7 series. They haven't played the Astros yet, right? I don't think because that's coming up when they're at home at the end of this month.
Yes.
But 6 out of the 7 top tier teams in the American League, the Phillies have dropped the series against them. How do you guys feel, and Erik, I'll start with you, about the World Series when, hey, I think we might get there because we're doing well against National League, but the American League seems to have our number. What are your thoughts on that?
I already told you our last episode. I don't think they're going to make it out of the NLDS. So I don't even look at the World Series as an opportunity for them to get to. I think that, I truly believe that the sky is falling. I think the team has not really given up, but they're trending in that direction. And I think that Thompson has no idea how to stop it or how to corral it or anything like that. But if we get to the World Series, we have zero shot against any of the American League.
So you're telling me that you honestly believe from this point until end of October, Bryce Harper, JT, who else? Stott, Schwarber, Castellanos. They're not going to figure out their woes to, and I'm not saying like obviously we need the pitching side of it too, but you're saying that you don't think they're going to figure out their woes at all?
They could figure it out, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be the high wave all the way into the playoffs. That high wave could crash right before the playoffs start again.
Well, I mean, it could, but it could also be 22 where they have this struggle all the way up until middle of September, and then they have the greatest month and a half that they could possibly think of having. That's literally what I keep saying about, like, everyone's talking about this struggle. Bro, when we were in July, August, that 22 team, we could have sworn they weren't making the playoffs in general. Like, they just weren't even going to be there. And then they finally clinch it. We're like, all right, awesome. And then we get to the Braves series. Did we honestly think we were going to trample the Braves?
Absolutely not.
So, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is the way they need to roll into things. They need to roll into it, making the city think that we ain't going to do shit. And then they just have to. I think it's just the city of Philadelphia. Like, they need to have we're the underdogs, even though we're the fucking top seed mentality.
It's weird that we keep talking about struggles, and they're still the first place team in the National League. I mean, they're tied right now with the Dodgers, but in the tiebreaker scheme, we beat them for the season series. So it's weird to have like this slump and feel that we're doing so bad, but still be the best of the National League. And that's kind of where I was going with the question of, like, let's say all fears aside that we get knocked out by at this rate, the Mets in the National League Division Series. We get to the World Series, we don't seem to have that type of a success with the American League. So that's what kind of I was wondering if, like, and the weird thing is we're 17 and 18 against the American League.
I mean, I don't know. I it's a lot of I feel like timing with it. Like we've been in this like, obviously we're talking Boston Orioles. Those 2 series, we didn't have JT. That was like the beginning of not having him to figure it out.
And you legit could probably blame Boston on London, because they did just get back from London for that Boston series.
Yeah. And then after that, the Yankee series, that was on us. We had everyone that we could possibly need for that. I don't know why, but that Yankee series didn't put fear, they beat us, but, like, I don't know. Like, it just felt like on our side of things, we weren't clicking at all. And in the second one of the games, we basically put them to the test. Like, we should have won that easily. So I don't know why, but the Yankee series, I don't fear the Yankees in the AL. They're the team that I think is going to be like, oh, first round bye, like they're gone in the first round.
I do think the Yankees are just getting hot at the wrong time. Like, it's going to be an epic October collapse for them. That being said, we rolled into the Dodgers Stadium. won that series. So it was the first series win since we swept the Dodgers when they were here before the All-Star break. We ended up going 2-1 in that series. We lost the first game, which was a weird trend that we had been picking up as losing the first game of each series. But then we ultimately closed it out with a 6-2 win on Tuesday and a 9-4 win on Wednesday. I saw none of those games because they're assholes and play at 10-10 on the East Coast. Erik, what are your thoughts on the Dodgers series?
Hey, that second game, Schwarber and Sosa homered back-to-back.
Tree
And
falls in the woods. Do you hear it?
it's kind of what I've been saying is that I want Sosa to play more. I don't know where he can play. They were trying him out in left field in order to figure out if he was a left fielder at all, but I want to see Sosa more. And I think he gives that added pop that we need in the lineup. So that second game was definitely where we should have been and got me all sorts of excited. And I thought we were back, but just losing the freaking first game of every series, man, it is just rough, absolutely rough. But Chris Sanchez looked great going 6 innings, and they're only giving up 1 run, 1 earned. He looked really good. It was against Clayton Kershaw too, so that was nice to beat him. And the third game was awesome too. So Tyler Phillips, he had I want to say a good game, but it was a little rough. But he ended up doing 5 innings and only giving up 4. So he had his a good game for who he is.
Well, the thing about that game was he gave up 4 runs, but it was off of he only had there was only 2 solid hits. Freddie Freeman got 2 little fucking dinkers over the shortstop that scored the 4 runs. So overall, I think he did his job against that lineup.
Yeah, and Schwarber hit 3 home runs that game too.
Yeah, something Castellanos could never do.
Tree falling in the woods, man. Tree falling in the woods.
Good thing I was there to see that bear shit in the woods.
I've seen Castellanos home runs and the natural disasters he causes. So he makes an impact, man. Like he goes out and kills. He tries to take down former presidents.
But you definitely got excited with where it was going because you won those 2 games to end that series, and you won the season series against them. So you definitely thought that you were heading in the right direction.
Ty, what are your thoughts on the Dodgers series?
I thought it was a good series. Honestly, I mean, you weren't going to ever sweep the Dodgers. Obviously, you want to go out and win the game 1 after winning in Seattle. You want to see them kind of, get a winning streak going because it's been a rough go there. Because they had just gone off of a 6-7 game losing streak at that point.
5 and then snapped it on that Sunday.
Yeah. So it sucked to lose the first one, but the other 2 games, I mean, it shows you what this team is. In a series. I feel like a series that matters. I feel like the team is going to show up. I don't know. Maybe they're just not getting up for these other teams for some reason. Maybe they're, I don't want to say looking past AL teams, but realistically, they only have to face 1 AL team to win it all. Where NL teams, you have to face, technically 2 or 3 series, 2 if we get the bye. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just not getting up for the AL games. I don't know, but I felt confident after leaving the Dodgers series.
Well, that'll take us out to the desert for a rematch against the Diamondbacks. Now, we beat them for the first series when they came to Citizens Bank Park, but unfortunately, when we went out there for a 4-game stretch, we only picked up 1 win and dropped 3, and 2 of the drops were kind of rough. Erik, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on the Diamondbacks, and more importantly, that Saturday loss when they gave out the NL Ring Championship ceremony in Arizona?
I did not see that.
Yeah, that Saturday game was them doing the NL ceremony. They chose to do it against the Phillies because they're dickheads, and I hope they don't make the playoffs because of it.
but but as I just said, it was nice to actually pick up a win in the first game of the series. And so you had a nice little 3-game win streak going. You're like, all right, here we go. And then all of a sudden, uh, the I don't know, the train came off the tracks, I guess you can say, because they gave up that home run in the ninth inning, the go-ahead homer after tying it up. So they were down 2-0 the whole entire game until the seventh inning. They scored a run in the seventh, scored a run in the eighth. They're like, all right, awesome, tied it up. Ninth inning, they did nothing. Close though. They had, I believe, it was the bases loaded for that game, numerous times actually. And so you're like, normally it always bites you in the ass, and you're kind of questioning if it was going to bite you in the ass that time, and it did. Bottom ninth, I think it was like the first pitch, dude hit out a home run. So, and it was against Jeff Hoffman too, and that's Hoffman really rarely does that. He doesn't really give up the homers. So that was kind of crushing, but the rest, I don't know if that was what it did, but the other 2 games, you got completely demolished. It was like they didn't even bother to show up for either game. And it was, you lost 11-1, you lost 12-5. It was the first time since, I think they said last year, that they gave up like back-to-back double-digit runs to a team. So it was like a little rough to end that series.
Tyler, what were your thoughts on the Arizona series?
Stupid. Because our offense, runners in scoring position, it doesn't matter who the fuck's hitting. It could be literally anyone, and we have a runner in scoring position. They forget how to fucking have it at bat. It's really aggravating. What was it? Brandon Marsh had bases loaded the first inning of one of the games. Grounded out, struck out, did whatever. I don't know. Got out and ruined it. I think pretty sure it was the Saturday game where it was that, and then the third inning you had runners on third and second, or third and first and third, and they just got out again. Like they get people there, and then they just forget how to hit, and it's so aggravating. It's so annoying because it's like all you have to do is little things. Like sometimes it's just like, if you're a lefty, pull the ball to right field. You have one out. If you just pull that thing and hit it to the right fielder, Trey Turner is going to be able to tag up from third. Shit, Kyle Schwarber is going to be able to tag up from third on most hits. And it's just the little things they don't do is really aggravating, because it's shit that when I'm coaching Little League or when Eric's coaching Little League, it's what we're preaching to them. And it's something that was preached to them when they were that young. So I don't understand how they're not doing it now.
It is a little frustrating. They don't seem how to play small ball.
No,
that's usually what kicks their ass.
But that Saturday game was Nola pitching, and he looked the worst that I think he probably looked all year. And Sanchez pitched on Sunday, and he had a really rough game. That was the game that I said that they gave up 18 hits. And it was all like, it wasn't like 110 mile an hour hits to straightaway left center or whatever the hell you want to call it. It was like little dinkers. So it wasn't really, they just found open grass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how they ended up winning the game. They were playing small ball until Corbin Carroll went apeshit again. But it's just,
if anyone, it was JJ McCarthy. He's the one that killed us in that series.
Yeah. Well,
he had like 11 RBIs over the 4 games.
Oh, yeah. Well, Carroll, the last 2 games was pretty rough too. I got excited because he was off on Sunday, but then somebody got hurt and he had to go in. And then he came in and he hit like 2 home runs still.
Well, as they've been saying ever since the All-Star break, it's time to flush those series and move on. This week we got 2 series coming up, 2 games against the Marlins and then 4 games against the Nationals during the Phillies Alumni Weekend series. This should be what people would consider a soft portion of the schedule. Hopefully a bounce back. They're at a homestand against 2 of the worst teams in the National League East. We'll do what we like to do. We're going to forecast what we think is going to happen between now and when we record next Monday. Erik, we'll start with you. Out of the 6 games, what do you think they're going to go?
They're going 4-2.
Nice.
They're gonna have a nice series. They're gonna split with the Marlins, and then they'll win 3 of 4 from the Nationals. And I think they're gonna those 2 games that they're gonna lose are gonna be bullpen losses too. The starting pitchers are all gonna look good. I have a good feeling about that.
You know who comes back on Tuesday, right?
Yep. That's why I feel really damn good. And I think that's the game that they're going to win.
He's the missing piece?
Yep.
All right. Walker fan over there. He's pitching twice out of these 6 games. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah. You banked blood on that one. Tyler, what were your thoughts on this week with the 6 games?
6-0. We're sweeping both of them. I personally think after Harper looked absolutely fucking disheveled in his post-game interview yesterday,
cricket.
He is going to. That man just loves everything Philly. So maybe that was intentional, but I think they're gonna all show up to the ballpark tomorrow. They're gonna have fucking players only. Like, bro, we can't keep doing this shit, and we got to figure it out. Like, we gotta go, and it's gonna happen. They're gonna fucking absolutely just tear the ball. I think the Marlins series is going to be absolutely off the fucking wall. I think we outscore the Marlins like fucking 30-2. Like we're just gonna go fucking nuts.
Do stop. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, someone's gonna be on fucking roids, so he won't be available for playoffs, but that's okay. Nick Castellanos can sacrifice himself. That's fine.
If there's one guy on the team that can get away with it, it'll be him. He's just got swag.
Absolutely. He's from Miami, so he'll figure it out. It's cool. 6-0, bro. Taiwan Walker is probably gonna be the best starting pitcher we have over the week. Like, he's going to look amazing throwing his fucking 89-mile-an-hour fucking fastball, his curveball that has no fucking break to it. He looks like he's straining himself every time he pitches the ball, but he's gonna be great. He's gonna pitch fucking 6 solid innings against the Marlins. Then Sunday he might go for a fucking complete game shutout. I'm not sure. Alumni weekend, it might get crazy.
I was with you until the Walker talk.
Dude, I was 100% all about it.
Dude, Taiwan Walker is going to be like, I mean, if you look back, right? Granted, Turnbull went out right around the same time, but if you look back, our struggles all kind of, date back to those series. Like, it was back when, when we faced after Detroit, we started to struggle a little bit.
All right.
We also started struggling after we got rid of Whit Merrifield too.
Well, I mean, that's nothing to do with Whit Merrifield, though. Like, if might have been, I think it might have been weird timing. He could have been. I really do think there's something. I think that's what the struggles are. There's something off in the locker room. I don't want to necessarily blame Bohm for getting a bitch finally, but like, it seems like that could be the problem.
It is. I think we need to get rid of her. She's going to be the most hated person in Philadelphia if anybody links that with a mass following.
Our female audience is going to love that fact.
Oh, Jess hates the bitch. I think they go 5-1. I don't think Walker's that lucky to win 2 games in a row.
Whoa. Settle down.
He'll get the first one. I think he's going to get the benefit of our hitting to come out the gate fucking nuts, like you said.
Listen, man, like he can't lose a game if he doesn't pitch past the 3rd inning. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I will go 6-0 if it's a bullpen game on that Sunday. If he ends up going more than 3 innings on that Sunday, I think he loses it. I do think the Marlins are in for a nasty treat because if they don't come out that gate swinging on the 13th, this team's dead in the water. Like, they need to come out with an attitude this week. So I'm going to go 5-1 just to split the difference between you two. That's kind of going to do it for us here on the conversation topics for the Jersey Phanatics show. Before we go, just want to we did this at the last episode. Did it before when we first came back, and we were all hyped up because it was after the All-Star break and we had a good first half. How are we feeling overall, Erik, start with you.
I feel terrible.
Your opinion doesn't matter. Stop it. All right. We feel amazing. All right. We're coming into a series against the Nationals and the Marlins. We're about to go on a fucking tear. It's almost September. I'm just kidding. We have a whole month in between, but it's close enough to September when everything's supposed to, when it's supposed to click, and it's gonna click, and it's gonna be great. None of that negative shit, Erik.
It'd be a hell of a time to fire up now, because if we can get going and we start winning these series, we got 6 against the Braves this month. So it'd be nice to put the nail in that coffin.
If we could just put distance in the division, I really don't care how we end the season. As long as we get out of it and then the last 2 weeks, you just do your thing.
All about it. So, Erik, feeling a little bit better now that Tyler told you to shut the fuck up?
Nope.
Well, we'll be back next week to talk more, and hopefully Erik will be in a better mood because we go 6-0, like Tyler said, or at least 5-1.
Shit, we're gonna be at the point that we're almost going 7-0 by the time we're talking. Just saying.
They just get an automatic win next Monday for being off.
If we go 6-0, I'll go to Tyler's house and I'll shotgun a beer with him live on the episode.
That sounds like a punishment. Now I don't want us to go 6-0.
Anyway, that's going to do it for us this week on the Phanatics. Check out basementprotocolproductions.com and facebook.com/basementprotocol productions. Erik, you got anything going on you want to talk about?
Nope.
Tyler?
We got playoffs this weekend. Softball playoffs. We made it, baby. 5th seed. Let's go.
Nice. 5 out of how many?
9.
9. Nice.
Yeah, we finished 9-9. Yeah, we had ourselves a little rough patch in the middle, but we ended on a high note. We won 4 straight. So
we're gonna go 7-0 next week.
Fucking right,
we come back with a championship.
We're going. Well, if at that point, I'd have to go like 9-0, but it's fine.
We got this, or you got this. I'm not gonna be there.
You should be there. You should come out and support. You've been a part. You've probably clinched enough games for playoffs at this point.
Good luck. That's going to do it for us here on the Jersey Phanatics. I've been Chris the Dace Man Dace. He's been Erik Barrezo.
Bye-bye.
He's been Tyler Freed.
Toodles.
Let's ring that bell, and we'll see you next week. Later, guys.
Ding, ding, ding.